Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. We are back with surviving as a trader, surviving in Mars as you see here. And today I think it's time to build our large grid ship for space exploration. So let's get right into it. Alright, so let's build that large grid ship right after we've completed making this monstrosity of a ship centipede and gathered a bunch of materials that we were needing for this build. So right now, I'm just gonna shift this guy a little bit over to this connector so we have more room to build this large connector, this large grid ship. And the large grid ship, probably not gonna build it on the connector itself, but the base itself. So probably build off of the base a little bit over here, just so we can build it that way. So let's just get ourselves refreshed with some new refilled tanks of oxygen and hydrogen. Right, so I'm just gonna give myself some of the essentials here, which is nothing too crazy. And it looks like we have a lot of interior plates, a lot of components, construction components. Let's see here. Yeah, definitely a lot of construction components. Interior plates. Yep, a decent chunk of them as well. So we could sell and make more money in terms of iron and things like that. But actually, you know what? We should really start the day with some trading. And when we do some trading, we're not really going to sell. We're just going to buy in this case because we just need a bunch of iron for this build anyways. But if we do run out, we could just go ahead and go do some salvaging, or salvaging mission number, what, 7? Okay, iron ore is back on sale, so we're definitely gonna buy that and throw it in our large grid. What else is there? I'll buy all the organics for now as well, and uranium ore. Perfect. So eventually I will just become poor once again. And keep forgetting about this, which is to buy hydrogen for our tanks. And that's going to be important, especially if we're making a large grid ship that has hydrogen. I don't know if we're going to put ion on it, but we probably should. But haven't thought about doing that just yet, just in case I don't have enough, what's it called? The thruster components. Because that requires a lot of platinum, I believe, and silver. I forget exactly what it needs, but we'll find out right now. Gold, platinum, and cobalt. So we might have some, but not too many. So that's another thing. But I'm not going to worry about that just yet. We're going to build a large grid ship. And the idea of the large grid ship is not to be super, super big like a mobile base. It's just going to be something we'd use to travel with for the time being. So I'm going to start off by creating the framework right over here. And I think that's going to be more than enough framework. Actually, no. I'm going to make it a little bit further. I don't want it touching our current base, so let's just do it that way. And I'm going to bring it up. So an idea I had in mind, didn't really draw it up or anything like that, is try to get it only 3 blocks tall. Whether it's half blocks or no half blocks, I don't know. Or should it be 3 blocks tall and then half block? One of those designs is going to be more than enough for what I'm trying to build here. But what I do really want to build here is just generally a large grid ship that's pretty compact, that's not going to use too much components. It's just basic stuff that can carry like a hydrogen tank, a reactor, gyroscope, things like that. We don't need to move around the base. But we do want to slap on maybe 2 jump drives. Yes, 2. 2 is a lot, but we are going to take that as a goal in terms of making it happen. So actually, let me go into inventory manager and look for superconductors. Superconductors, we only got 60 of them, so ouch. All right, we need a lot more. It's 200 per jump drive. So let's see if we could do 400 queued up. Will it even make it? I don't know. I would hope so. Looks like... Alright, we're queuing up some. It looks like we need golden iron. We did buy a lot of gold ingots. No, gold ores previously. So I think we might have enough there. So that wouldn't be too bad. In terms of... You know what? I should check the thruster components as well. What does that take to make? Gold, platinum, cobalt. Which I think we might be able to make some too. But let's reserve that for later as we build out the superconductors first. Right. So this whole base being 3 tall only. Might not have room for it on the jump drive. Jump drives is a little bit different in terms of spacing. It's a bit taller. Actually, it's 2 on one side and 3 on another side. So we could still slap it on kind of like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. First things first, what cockpit do we want to use? Do we want to use the normal cockpit, industrial cockpit, which has a port on top, helm, and that's all we have for large grid. So I kind of want the ports to be behind and not on the bottom. So if it's on the bottom, it doesn't fit my design. That's going to be for 3 blocks tall only. So maybe we have to suffice with a helm. Or even like a control seat. This one here. One of those will do perfectly fine. Okay, so maybe we do just go with that kind of design. So it's almost like the original ship. Well, not the original ship, but the space pod ship. Look in the very front. Or the respawn pod that comes with by default. So something like that. And we could just round it out in the front here with some blocks. So let's see. I guess we're stuck using this one as a pointer right there. And then this one there. And I'm gonna fall. Ooh. Okay, ow. Okay. What is this thing here? Power cells. Why are you out here? Okay. Okay, so we may have to build some scaffolding, so this could take a little more time than I would prefer, if anything. But should be alright. All right, so this is what it's going to be, the base of the ship, I guess, towards the bottom. And that's our first block on the ground. The middle block is where I want to have my seat situated. Yeah. I mean, ideally, I want just a cockpit so I can just walk right in. But it looks like this is the next best option, which is a bit unfortunate from what I wanted to originally do, but it should be okay. So next piece, we're gonna have to look for a door. So I do like the sliding hatch doors, but the only problem with these is that they take forever to open. So I don't know if I want to stick with these. But I do like that there's a half version, so we can stick one over here. And that would suffice for these top layer as well. So maybe we just do it that way then. I don't know. Potentially like that, or maybe not that. Yeah, I guess we could do it that way. This block is probably gonna change later down the line anyways. But yep, we're gonna have 2 doors. One to exit from one side to the other side. Not necessary, but should be the better idea. Let's put in the control seat. rather than not have a helm wear because I just want to have myself be able to sit down. So it's been a while since I used a control seat. So it's either this one or maybe these flight seats. These look pretty cool too. So either I put it all the way up front like this or back it up a little bit more. And if I back it up a little more, what advantages do we get here? I don't think we get much advantage versus it being here. But let's not deal with that just yet. As we want to probably do the same design on top. Oof. We can't because of the... because of the... Oh, the hatch door over there. So... Actually... So we could put it this way instead. If anything, or even this way. Shoot. It could be this way. And that's gonna be that. So the top is gonna mimic what we have down here. So let's just kind of raise ourselves up over here. And we're gonna put in, I think it's this way. That means that will be that way. And I think that's pretty much perfect from what I wanted it to do. Okay, so that's going to be the bridge, basically. And it's not too bad. So we can close these things up. And I'm likely just going to put windows right over here. So now the question is, how do we want the windows? Do we want the windows to build from the inside or the outside? I think in this case we could just do it from the inside, because even if we do it from the outside, we probably need a light or something like that, or corner light to situate it. So I think this should be decent enough, hopefully. So we build a slope here, then we lose the spacing also over there. So that's not the greatest, but I mean, should be okay. Yeah, we'll leave it as that. This should be working just as fine. There we go. So this is our bridge here. Then I guess we could just put our seat right over here. Okay. So then that will give us a nice view all around. Yeah, not too bad. And right here we could put an air vent. So whether it's going to be a half air vent or full air vent, I think I kind of want to do half just to make it more spacious over here. So half one would look just like this right here, and it's going to give us a little bit more space. And I think that's the way to go. There we go. So we could add some lights in here, obviously. So let's look for lights. We want to use a corner light. Do we want to use maybe these inset lights? We could use that too. I kind of want to do that, actually. Inset lights are pretty great at lighting things up, especially if it could be like right here, right in the middle. It does make the outside look a little different, but hey, this thing is going to be more functional as a light and a block. So we could build something right over here as well. So I could build even another light next to it. So that's another good thing about that. So I'm going to put this light here, and we're going to do one right over here too. Why not? We have a nice and bright interior bridge system. And this is it. This is our bridge right here. Nothing more to it. This should be more than enough to keep ourselves intact in terms of being pressurized. Of course, leaving is always going to be wasting a bit of oxygen, except unless I put in something to depressurize right over here. So a button would be nice, or a panel. I think the button panel right over here, I like this one a lot. Let's see where we could place this. I mean, not a lot of spots left, to be honest. Unless we place it up here, which does cover the light, which is not an ideal spot. Or do we just get as simple as a one-touch button or console? Either one of these should do. So we could put one of these things like that right over there, or this one you can't just throw on the vent. That would have been nice, but we could put something like that if we want to. Actually, you know what? It looks like this is gonna be the best bet. So that is gonna be a nice little control center as well, a console that we can use to say on and off for the air vent pressurization. So the main buttons here is gonna be air vent. Ooh, we have two of these. It's not air vent 2, so it's fine. We put that here and just toggle pressurization on and off, and that's what that's gonna do. Oh no, this is air vent 2. Okay, my mistake. All right, so this is gonna save us some oxygen just a tad. Every time we get out of the seat, we just gotta make sure to hit this button, and then be able to go in and out. And of course, if we really wanted to, we could toggle on open and close for these hatches as well. Not necessary, obviously, but might be good to have for fun. And that's pretty much all we can add in here. There's not much we can add from here as well. So your basic bridge right here, that's all we needed. And then we got to connect everything else from the rear. So that's all stuff back here. So I'm adding a little bit of scaffolding, but let's see what we start out with. I'm imagining this thing's going to look a little long, which should be fine for the most part. But let's stick on, let's say, like an O2H2 generator right over here. We probably need and should have an oxygen tank. What else do we need? Maybe a small cargo container. We don't need a large one because we're not really planning to collect a large amount of stuff. If anything, maybe 2 or 3 small cargo containers will do. I'm going to slap on one for now and just kind of see how long this whole thing's going to get. So there's that. And this thing's going to space, so we should, of course, potentially put in a hydrogen tank itself. So we use this big old tanker, or we use this tanker right over here. So it can look a little bit odd if we use this circular one, but I don't know. It might look pretty decent at the same time as well, because it adds like a little ball look, but kind of more inclined. I mean, we could try it. Definitely should just try and see what happens, right? So we stuck it like this, and we put on a thruster. Let's just say for an example, no, that's not gonna work that well. All right, let's just stick with the original tank, which is gonna be this one right here, because we do plan to put in a large hydro thruster in the back like this. So maybe this case, I mean, kind of want to make it this way. So I'm gonna use this. Oh, actually, this one would have looked a lot better with that circle. Let's do that. Let's try to make it work, because we never really used this one before. I rarely touch this one, but with this thruster, it does match with the square in the back, so that kind of works out in a way. So my ship's got a little bit of a ball, or a sack, if you want to call it that. All right, we are online with a little bit of a ball here, and this piece right here, skinny as it is, but this is basically the meats of the ship, basically. All right, so that's as long as this is gonna get, but we are gonna round it out a little bit more, so extend it out towards the outer side. We just gotta figure out what is the best way to do that, but we still need other pieces here. So things like another cargo container, 2 of them maybe, 2 additional ones, gyroscope, reactors, things like that we still need to tie in. So still a little bit more to build out from here. Looks like it's nighttime. Actually, you know what? Let me go sleep the night away so that we can see a little bit better. All right, nice daytime. Time to continue our building process. And the ship is not looking too big, which is perfect. I didn't want it to be way too big, but this is going to be slightly decent in terms of the size. We do want to add in not just hydrogen thrusters, but also, well, kind of shouldn't even add this big old thruster, to be honest. This is way too much. But we should think about putting atmospheric thrusters, maybe ion thrusters too. So there's plenty of those things to think about. Looks like we actually have 400. Oh, wow. We actually have 400 of these things. That's not bad. All right, so when it comes to making an ion thruster, what's that gonna take? 80 thruster components. And the large ones, 960. I don't think we need that much. Okay, so 80 of them. Maybe we queue up times 4 of that. So maybe 320. Let's just say 320 and see if we have enough parts to gather that. But let's continue on building this. So we got the bridge. We got the tail end, which is not too bad. Then now we just got to finish up the front end. So the front end is looking a little bit sad at the moment. We just got to figure out how we want to put in the meats and potatoes right now. So let's see. Okay, so for the most part, I do want to just do this in terms of the middle piece of the build. And I'm not sure how I want to do this piece to get to the ball. Whether we use maybe this half block instead, so it doesn't look too crazy. Might just do that. Just act like that is the bottom half. And this will be the top half, which is going to be the same thing. Kind of basic blocks to kind of cover stuff. Right over here, if we really care to do it, I would probably just put like a panel door here just to cover up what this is supposed to be. Oh geez, there's no bigger ones than this. Well, ain't that just suck? I was hoping a bigger one would be here, but oh well. I mean, I guess we just throw in a panel to kind of cover up what this is if we have to. But yeah, this is now leading to the ball piece. So looking a little odd, a little bit, but not too bad. So I see and identify a few spots for hydrogen thrusting on the side, so that's good. But we need to get the hydrogen thrusting over here as well. So how we're going to do that is probably some piping. So we can stretch it out that way. So I want to do some kind of like front arm or wing type of situation. Right in here, I'm probably just going to do a junction. And then I'll just wing it out this way. So let's see. I guess the hydrogen thrust could be right here. So I'm going to do maybe a junction right over here. Yeah, should be a junction because if I need to put a side thrust there, that's going to be available. All right. And we could throw in the hydrogen thrust now, which we could use the large one. I mean, the industrial one. We put it here, or do we put it forward a little bit more? I think if we put it forward just a tad more, That would look a little bit better. Maybe. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. So what else can we add here is basically, I was thinking whether it's going to be an ion thruster or maybe, which ion thruster do we have here? Warfare one or the original one, which is the round one. So Warfare one, I probably would prefer over the other one. So it would be kind of ending up right over here, but that's going to be kind of touching the doorway. So that gets a little tricky. And still possible, but not exactly a good spot for it. Which it could burn, it could just fry me down. So I might have to stretch it out by one and add it over here instead. So like right here. So that might be a possibility. So maybe put another junction here. And that way I can add this right here. Although this might even not be the best looking thing if I did do it that way. Probably looks better on this side more than anything. I don't know. It's gonna be rough because if we're not flying, it shouldn't burn me down at all. But if I am flying, it may. Let me see if I can fulfill this one in terms of crafting it. I think so. I like it better hugging the system for whatever reasons. But now, I don't know if I want to do this, but I feel like I should. And that's pretty much add all the different kinds of thrusters onto this thing as much as possible. But this way we have atmospheric thruster, hydrant thrusting, and ion thruster. It seems a little excessive, but one of each might not be bad to get per se. But it might not be great either, so there's that. Alright, I'm gonna change it up, put a conveyor junction here instead. Which should work a little bit better than a pipe. Because now I think, and I hope that's the case, where I can just put in the atmospheric thruster right along it. Ooh, nope. It needs to be kind of like where the ion thruster is. Oh, this one sticks out a little bit more too, so this one definitely has to be right over here. Yeah, shoot. It's alright. Let's leave the designing piece for later. But right now, it should just be kind of like that. But I'm sure if I stick it on later, it's gonna fall. So we'll see what that looks like. Should I really do 3 different thrusters? Probably not, but I kind of want to do it. I haven't really done that before. I've used only 1 thruster each before, but adding 3 different thrusters like this wouldn't be a terrible choice, but it wouldn't be the greatest choice either. So I don't know. I think if we got up to here, we won't get fried. Yeah, as long as we're not flying it. So we should be okay to go in and out. I think, yeah, I think that would be a decent process. And I did plan to add kind of a tip or wing system right here. Whether it's going to be directly sloped like that, or maybe use a half block first and then go like that. I think this one would be a little bit better. And we can square this one off too. I think we'd kind of do the same thing as what we did in the front there. So it's going to be ion thrusting first. Right over here. Then it's going to be hydrogen, which we need some kind of piping on here. And then, although we need to do something like this for now with the atmospheric thruster, unfortunately, we just throw it on right over, right over here, like that. I mean, I could bring it back one, and it's not going to conflict with anything. So I could just do that instead. But I think this would look decent. And here we could do this. Yeah, I definitely could just bring it back just by one, if anything. But I don't think I'm going to. Alright, so let's kind of take a look at what this is going to look like. Should the atmospheric thruster stick out more than the rest? I mean, it could. It could. Yeah, I think it could. It should be okay. Now, how do we link up the rest? That's kind of the question. But before we even get there, how are we going to do downward thrusting? That's another thing too. And upward thrusting. So we need both of those to work out. But right now we only work on one side, so we can mimic the other side fairly quickly once we get to that point. But I think this is actually working out pretty okay, and then we can just kind of like design it out from here. So we're gonna have a lot of space in the inside right over here, it looks like. So that's a good thing. So we have room for a reactor and everything like that. So we can't, I don't know how well it's gonna balance out if we have a gyroscope out and about on one side versus the other side, unless we get two and do 50% on both. But gyroscopes can be quite heavy, so that's another thing. Reactors, we could do 2 small reactors to balance it out if we had to do it that way. I kind of figure we don't need to do it that way, but there's a chance that we do. So a reactor, I mean, we could do the reactor first, which could be this one. So this reactor only has a port like this. So that's not the greatest thing in the world if it's that way. So, do we just stick it on like this then? Because I don't think we need to connect it from here. Or do we just connect it from back here to add an additional design where you can see it from the outside, but you can't do much for it? Feels like a waste of space. I'm going to add it right here for now. Yeah, I'm going to do it right here. Alright, looks like we got to queue up some reactor components, so let's just leave that alone. But we could make the gyroscope. So where do we want the gyroscope? We definitely need just mostly, I think, one. Because of, you know, the size of the ship. But do we really need 2? I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think we need 2, but if we did need 2, I guess we could put one here and one on the other side as well. Or we put it here against the reactor, which should be okay, I think. Let's just put it against the fan for now. Let's quickly work on up and downward thrust. So up and downward thrust, I think we just need one thruster to go down and one to go up. And we might have to change the order a little bit here, where it looks like right here would be the thrusting upwards for hydrogen. And then we can work on ion thrusting right next to it, right over here, I want to say. Oh, so this is not going to work out for up and down, so we might... Oh, we would normally stretch it out one more anyway, so it's going to be like that. And then the atmospheric one, that's the thicker one. I'm going to stretch it down a little bit more this way. And then this one, we should pipe it downward a little bit more. So we just need a conveyor. So we do that instead. So again, changes the order just so slightly, but I kind of want to leave this blank So now this thing becomes a little bit more than 3 blocks tall. It's going to be adding another block here and then the atmospheric thruster, which is, you know, not exactly what I wanted, but it's going to be as close as we're going to get it. Because basically, if we, even with the atmospheric thruster kind of placed there, ooh, that's going to be rough because atmosphere thruster needs that one block over there in order to be attached. So how are we gonna keep that attached over there? That's the tricky part, I think. So let's just say ion thrust here, and then you can have your regular thrust there. Okay, so it's not as flushed as it could have been, given that over there, but you know what, maybe it doesn't need to be so flush like this. So let's see if we could do it this way instead. So let's try to make everything flush. So basically your atmospheric thruster would have to be like that. Ooh, takes the whole entire space. Great. Your iron thrust just needs to be raised up by 1. Like so. And then we just get rid of junction right there and plop on a regular thruster. So that makes it a little more flush that way. Do we want to do it that way? Potentially. Now, the only issue we're going to have with this is how we're going to line up our downward thrust. Because we're going to need space, so we are going to need our downward thrust. Oh, you know what? It should be fairly easy because we don't need atmospheric thrusters to be downwards. So maybe we just keep the atmospheric thruster as is, and then we can always throw in hydrogen thrust here or somewhere else, and then the ion thrust. So ion thrust probably is going to be a stinker because it's going to stick out by 1 if we put it right on top, right over here. So, I mean, it wouldn't look that bad over there like that, but we could also kind of place it right over here instead. So it's going to be not exactly lined up with the other thrusters. But you know what? Maybe I moved the gyroscope instead and put it over here. So that could be a potential thing to do as well. So maybe, yeah, I think that could work actually. Let me get rid of the gyroscope here. We'll plan out the gyroscope somewhere else. Hopefully a little bit better. It looks like I should actually get myself situated really quick with all the sleep. All right, so get rid of the gyroscope as we mentioned before. I think we'll get rid of the reactor as well. Just for now, we can kind of stick it up and make it shine on top if we need to. But I think if we're gonna do downward thrust, we could line it up back here. Oop. Or we could line it up right over here. So either one could be a decent choice. I kind of want to line it up over here instead, but hoping. Okay, so I think I know what to do here. So let me just place that block right there. We're gonna change this to either junction or conveyor junction, or yeah, let's just do conveyor junction. All this could be a conveyor junction, to be honest. Okay, so we're gonna line up our hydrogen thrust right here, and we're gonna line up our ion thrust over here, like so. And we're gonna forget about atmosphere thrusting because we are not gonna care about that for this case. For now, I don't think we need it, so there's that. And it won't be necessary. So then that means we could do our reactor kind of showing like that if we wanted to, or do it back here next to the ion thrust, which would have looked better, or maybe right over here in the middle. Let's try it right here. It does shine a little bit, so that's why it'd be nice to have it there. And I think that takes care of most of the stuff here. We do need a forward thrust with atmospheric and also ion. So we need to find a spot for that as well. So a gyroscope now, technically, the only last spot left is going to be kind of like right over here. So it won't be hidden in any aspect unless we put in some panels. Which is not the best thing in the world right there, but it will do. Yeah, I don't really see a spot for gyroscope, so we'll leave that there. We'll probably do the same on the other side anyway, so yeah. We don't need a hydrogen thruster, as you see there. So all we need is a good atmospheric thrust, which maybe we tag it on somewhere around here, or we put it over there. Let's see what that looks like. So atmospheric thruster would be right here. And then our ion thrust would be right next to it. Kind of like this. Alright, that might work. Yeah, I think that could work. Let's just weld everything up and see how that kind of works out. And you know what? Completely forgot about batteries. But batteries we could just put along right here anyways on top. Wouldn't be that bad, I think. I hope, at least. Alright, so that takes care of most things. It looks decent. Now, the only problem is, what can I take off to finish up the design here? So I still need a gyroscope, so the gyroscope can go towards the bottom to be on the safer side, if anything. We have a slot for a battery right over there too, so we might just do that. Use the warfare battery. So I'm gonna stick a battery right over here where we can see. Well, actually, you know what? We can stick 2 batteries down here. So basically, battery here and battery here, if anything. This way we get 4 batteries for this entire ship, which I believe should be more than enough to control ion and atmospheric thrusting. I believe. Could be wrong, but I hope not. Alright, so this is the bottom. So we gotta design it out a little bit. So we design the bottom first. Well, I actually prefer to design it from top down, so it's just a better view than seeing a shadowy underbelly. So let's just secure what we need to secure, which is basically, I guess, everything, just in case. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that. Okay, so now the top piece we can get rid of, and then we'll mimic everything on the bottom anyways. Kind of look like the top. So yeah, this is not looking too bad. Okay, so we could add another battery here. We want to add more and more batteries, which I'm kind of inclined to do that. So let's add those batteries so we can see the battery level. And then from here, I guess we could design it out a little bit more. We either use that or we use a direct slope. Half block slope. And then a slope. That kind of looks a little weird. Actually, not too bad. Should we do it throughout the whole entire thing? I don't know. That looks a little weird. Back it up. Yeah, that definitely looks a little bit weird. Maybe not the whole entire thing like that. Maybe right here becomes half blocks. Something like that. I mean, that's still looking a little bit odd too. Because I think if I had a gap right in the middle, it would probably look a little bit better. Potentially. Or maybe it's this kind of hood over here that's causing the problems. Not really. That's definitely not causing the problem. I think if we had it out one more, it would look a little bit better potentially. Or is it the fact that we should just really put this slope block piece over there and here like this to stagger it out a little bit? That kind of helps. Not necessarily, but it does kind of help. Alright, I'm going to get rid of this battery since that's going to make it look terrible. So that means we could add this here and that slope there. And that gives it a little bit more to it, but it's still not the best. I feel like adding that extra little gap might be the best thing, or maybe 2 blocks away for a gap. Yeah, I think that helps more than anything else. So this iron thruster is definitely gonna go. Let's just remove it. Okay, so maybe we redesign this where the atmospheric thrusters here and the ion thruster is gonna be right next to it. So look like that. That's not too bad. Although I would prefer, actually we won't be able to do it because the way it's connected now. So unfortunate. Let's leave it as that. Okay, so here we could put in another battery potentially, but here I think we could go a little crazy. Yeah, I'll put a battery right over there. I always use more batteries on this thing, so there's that. We could put a gap thingy here, and let me see if this is gonna work out. It is gonna block the door a bit, so that's the not so great part about this. Actually, put it right there. Okay, that would be a little bit better. It is gonna block the door slightly, not as much as we think here, so that's not too bad. That gives that little gap appearance, so that could look a little bit better than what it was before. But this is what we did on this side previously. So this one's going to be gapped out a little bit more out here, like that. Okay, so looking at from the side, okay, that looks a little bit better. That's kind of what I was going for. Kind of. And then this is not as perfect, but it's getting there. But we need to end up rounding this piece out right over here as well. So, not sure exactly how I want to do this. Ow. Need some scaffolding over here. So, I guess we could just stick it on like this. Potentially. For the side here. That will kind of do for now. And then here we could just do, yeah, regular old block. And that should kind of do it for there. But in order to kind of get all this connected from the tailpiece, which we are going to need to connect. So how are we going to do that? I'm not too sure. If I put a block here, like they're going to burn it out. So we need to do some kind of half block situation right over here, actually. So it could very well be kind of sticking something along the lines right over here towards the bottom piece, just kind of like a tail thing. What is that gonna look like? Actually don't know at this very moment. So let's see how we're gonna figure this out. I kind of want to diagonally shape it towards down here somehow. Yep, that might be it. So then that way it doesn't touch the thrusters for it to kind of like blow it up or break it. So we just do it this way so that it gives us that extra design look to it. And then from here, it looks like we could do full block up to right there. So I'm going to do half block and this half block. Should it be this half block? Probably not. Nah. Actually, you know what? I might just use the old rounded one for this ion thrust because everything else is rounded, so why not use the rounded one? Gotta say that's a little bit better. Okay, so I might have to utilize that for this, I believe. And yeah, I think that's gonna work out pretty okay. It should definitely work out, but I feel like I don't know if we want to use all full blocks over here. Because if we get away with using half blocks, I think that would be ideal. So we could do, if we have to, we just do this right over here. And the rest is going to be like half block. All right, so this is what I got out of this so far, which is not a lot. And the wing piece here looks a little bit on the terrible side. I feel like I gotta encase this a little bit better. Not exactly sure how. Maybe I match it with this. So basically, what we're gonna do here, I think that would probably work out a little bit better, actually. Yeah, that might work out a little bit better. And this piece should probably not stick out so much more. And if it does, can we salvage it by adding more pieces to it? So let's give that a shot, actually. So let's just say, for an example, we put it here instead. No, I don't think that's gonna work, actually. No, let's just, maybe we just get rid of that and keep it the same look. I think that makes the look, it would be a little bit better, actually. Yeah, I think encasing it kind of like that same look over there would make it look just a tad bit better. And it already looks a little bit better than what I have it as so far. So yeah, I think that would probably be the way to go. So let's just do that. But we might have to do this piece by piece so that we don't tear down anything that we need specifically. So slope, slope, slope. And then this way we're just encasing it kind of like the same way, so it doesn't look all awkward having everything on a different slope or slide or whatever the case is. I know this one's sticking out a little bit more than it should, but you know what? Maybe we bring all of them out a little bit more. So why don't we do that, actually? Yeah, so if we want to make it all equal, we could. We don't have to stick with the way it looks like right now, so we could just grab this guy, the rounded thruster or ion thruster, put it out here, which would be a little bit better. And this one we can get rid of and put in a conveyor junction or a pipe, whatever you want to do. I'm just gonna do conveyor junction and like that. There we go. So now that looks a little bit better. So unfortunately, the atmosphere thruster now, it looks like the smaller piece for some reason. Is the old atmosphere thruster looking like that too, or is it just that one specifically? So this is the sci-fi one. Oops. This is the original one, which looks just as bad. So we'll leave it as that. That should be okay. But that's definitely looking a lot better. So with that all winged up like that, should be the way to go. So from here, I don't even know what to do with that, to be honest. Do we raise this part a little bit? I think we should actually. But how far we want to raise this? Another question. What block is that? It's this block right here. So it would be like that in case it... No, I'd rather have it a little lower. I did like it when it was just half block. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. Or maybe do we do it one more block forward? Can we? Okay, so that's not as bad. Actually, that's not too bad. Would it be better that it sticks out over here? Probably. But then that's going to hump up a little too much than I would care for, I think. Actually, no. On a side note, we don't have enough gravel to make more reactor components. So that's the big problem that we're experiencing. And of course, the only way we're getting gravel at this moment, because we're not doing any digging whatsoever, is through data pads. And data pads don't give us a lot of gravel. So this is going to be a little bit rough. We're going to have to do a little bit more scavenging for reactors to get this large grid up and running. So I don't know if I said this earlier, but this is definitely going to be a multi-parter in terms of building this whole entire ship, because we might not have everything. And it looks like reactors our biggest problem. So now we should have some gravel, but not enough. So that's... Yeah, I don't know. It is a problem. But building this out, the whole thing out, is a bit of a problem on its own. But yes, that is looking a tad bit better. I think I was attempting to do a little too much with it, and keeping it basic would be more ideal, as it appears. And there you go. Okay, so that's actually looking not too bad. The only thing I'm not liking is that atmosphere thruster, which was sticking out before to make it look terrible. Now sticks in a little too much to make it look terrible. So now it feels like this should be in here just to give it that better look. But you know what? I'm not going to deal with that at the moment. We still got a lot to do here, obviously. So I probably won't touch that part for a little bit for now. Another question is, do we stick out this thruster one up now? We could try it. So we stuck the atmosphere thruster out like this. I mean, it still looks bad. Either way, forward, inner or outer, still not the greatest. But we could leave it on the outer like that. I think that should be okay for now. Inner would probably look better, but there's extra spacing inside, so we cannot worry about that currently. Yeah, so we need to fix up the bottom now for sure. All right, so that's all we got for today. One side of the entire ship. We got the middle main section all done, and we're just missing... Are we missing anything on the bottom? I don't think so. We got everything on the bottom kind of situated as well, although we should probably replace one of the batteries, but we could leave it as well in there like that. I think we have a total of 4 batteries in here, I want to say. Yep, looks like 1, 2, 3. Well, can't tell because that it's still connected to the base itself. But I think we have I think 3 batteries or 2 batteries on one side so far, which isn't too bad. Although I'm not liking this placement right over here, but it should be okay. And the whole wing section with the thrusters, it's not looking too bad, although it looks a lot bigger than what I really cared for. But I'm okay with it. It's not terrible. I actually like the tail end a little bit more, which is more of a fish tail. So I think that should be okay. I think if we could just bring this down more half blocks, it would look a lot better, but we have to bring it up towards this to kind of flush it out, which is the biggest problem. But other than that, the other big problem is this. We're missing what? Roughly 37 reactor components to make this reactor. So without this reactor, we're probably need a lot more batteries, but the reactor is going to help us. So hopefully we get enough data pads to dismantle to get the gravel out of it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the walkthrough of this build. We should continue off on it the next time around. Hopefully we do get enough reactors so we can color it, test drive it, and go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.